Hello everyone, this is Rahul Shrestha here to present the second part of the chapter Matter for class 8. So in our last class, we read about matter and the different states of matter and understood that matter in general can be found in three different states, which is solid, liquid and gas. And today the topic that we are going to discuss is the changes in matter. No matter wherever we are or whatsoever we be doing, things are always changing around us. In fact, billions and billions of changes takes place every second around the universe. Be it the movement of the planets, the bursting of a star, the growing of plants, or burning of the wood. Each one of these is a type of change which is changing either the size, shape, structure, or composition of a substance, either by absorbing or releasing energy. Now, most of these changes are categorized into two basic types, which is physical and chemical changes. According to science, the change which involves the change in the physical properties like shape, size, and form or state of a substance are known as physical changes. Tearing a piece of paper, folding your t-shirt, melting of ice, or dissolving salt in water are certain examples of a physical change. These type of changes can be easily reversed and it does not involve the formation of any new substance. When we tear a piece of paper, it is still just a piece of paper which has simply changed its shape and size. There is no new formation of a substance. In the same manner, the melting of ice is just a change in the state of water from solid to liquid. There is simply no new substance formed and the chemical composition of the water as well as ice remains the same, which is H2O. And we can also easily reverse this change by simply freezing the water again. In fact, changes in the state of water is a great example of a physical change. Ice melts into water and water evaporates to form steam. But no matter its form, water is still just water. And each one of these changes can be reversed easily. Steam can be condensed to form water again, and water can be frozen back into ice without the formation of any new substance. In the same manner, when we mix salt to water to form a salt solution, this again is a physical change, as there is no new substance formed, and here both the salt and water, even in this mixture state, still retains their own property, and the salt here is still salty and the water still transparent and liquid. And this change can also be reversed by simply boiling and condensing the mixture or using the process of distillation. Now let's look at one more change. When we light a candle, this is also a type of a change. In fact, this lighting of a candle involves two different types of changes. The melting of wax which takes place here is a physical change, where this wax is simply changing its form from solid to liquid, which again gets solidified itself after some time. But the burning of the wick here is actually a different kind of a change, which is the chemical change. Because here on burning of this wick, some new substances are getting formed, namely water vapor and carbon dioxide gas. I hope that you people know that wax is a type of hydrocarbon. And of burning this hydrocarbon in the presence of oxygen, we get water vapor and carbon dioxide as the product. So because there is the formation of these two new substances here, we can classify the burning of the candle as a chemical change. In fact, burning of anything is a chemical change because it generally involves the change in the chemical composition of the substances, forms new substances, and cannot be reversed, that is, it is a permanent change. This brings us to the definition of chemical change, which tells us that any type of change which involves the formation of a new substance and cannot be reversed easily is known as a chemical change. Some more examples of the chemical changes can be formation of curd from milk, rusting of iron, scaling of fruits, cooking of food, etc. Now, if you look at the formation of curd, milk on undergoing fermentation, curd is formed. Here, this curd is completely different in chemical composition from the milk, as the bacteria is responsible for curding changes the lactose sugar present in the milk into lactic acid, which causes the milk to ferment and form curd. And again, once the milk changes into curd, we cannot reverse this change by any means. Like even if we add water to the curd, which might get us a glass of lassi or whatever you may call it in your native language, but we definitely are not getting the milk back. In the same manner, when an object made of iron rusts, what is actually happening here is the oxidation of iron into something called as iron oxide, which is basically the reddish brown layer which we call as rust. Here, this iron oxide is the new substance formed, which is due to the reaction of iron with the oxygen and moisture present in the atmosphere. And definitely, once the iron has rusted, we are not getting the iron back, at least not by any simple means, which tells us that rusting of iron is also a chemical change. Now let's talk about some food. If you like eating cakes, you might know that cakes are prepared by using flour, water, sugar and butter, etc., which are mixed together to form the base or the batter of the cake. Now here, when we mix all of these ingredients to form the batter, this formation of batter in itself is just a physical change. Just like mixing salt and water is a physical change, here each one of the ingredients does not change chemically in any way. In fact, they retain their own property even in the form of a mixture and no new substances are formed. But this whole scenario changes as soon as we bake this batter to form the cake. The heat inside the oven changes this batter chemically, releasing different sweet smelling gases and forming different new substances inside the batter, forming the cake. And once the cake is cooked, we can't go back to the batter reversing this, which means that this change again is a permanent or irreversible change and thus can be classified as a chemical change. Chemical change also involves the change of one of a very important property of a substance, which is its mass. Most of the time when a chemical change occurs, the mass of an object changes. Sometimes this change in the mass needs to be measured in order to check the actual change in mass, like in the case of milk and curd, but some other times these changes can be easily evident without even needing any type of measurement, like in the case of burning of wood. When we burn a piece of wood, it gets converted into ash, and it is easily understandable that the mass of the resultant ash from the burning of the wood has reduced a lot in comparison to what it was before. So if we now summarize everything that we just studied, we can easily get all the important points of differences between the physical and the chemical changes. Like, physical changes involve the change in the physical form of the substance, that is, change in the shape, size and form, while chemical changes involves the change in the chemical composition of the substance. No new substance is formed in the physical change, while new substance or substances are formed in the chemical change. Physical change is reversible and temporary, while chemical change is irreversible and permanent. Mass of the substance does not change in physical change, while mass of the substances does change in chemical change. Now remember that out of these differences, this formation of the new substance is the most easily identifiable way of determining whether a change is physical or chemical. And the physical change being a reversible change is quite confusing, as a lot of times certain physical changes just cannot be reversed easily. Like the tearing of paper, for instance, we already know that it is a physical change and no new substances are formed while tearing a paper. But still, If we intend to rejoin these bits of paper into the paper that it was before, then it is simply not possible. In the same manner, we know that the formation of the cake batter is a physical change. But can we separate all the flour, water, butter and sugar from this batter if we wish to? No, it simply isn't possible. At least I don't know any simple way of doing so. So physical changes can sometimes also be irreversible, but it will never form a new substance. On the other hand, chemical changes always involve the formation of one or more new substances. And so this formation of the new substances can be taken as the evidence for a chemical change. So this was all about the changes in matter that I wanted to discuss with you all. I hope you might have understood these topics clearly. I'm done for today's class. Until next time, take care and be safe. Thank you.